Hey folks, Alamandic, the HotRodHippie here, and this is New Tools of SEMA 2020. You might be asking yourself, wait a minute, SEMA 2020 didn't happen, did it? Well, SEMA360, the virtual event, did happen, and I've got some interesting stuff that I found there for you to check out, including Innovator of the Year that's a little bit dangerous. Hope you're not afraid of snakes. Let's check it out. I will have another SEMA video coming yet about some hot rod parts for builds, things you might find useful for your projects, so get subscribed to keep up to date with that. So this year's SEMA event was an entirely online event. It was all virtual. It was me sitting here in my office with my computer screens and trying to communicate with various vendors, manufacturers, and checking out what they had that's new. Heck, I even got the full SEMA experience with the virtual event. I got sick this week and was laid up for a couple of days. Don't know how that occurred since I've barely left the house, but it happened. Overall, it was a very strange experience. There was more there than I expected there to be, but there wasn't as much as I would hope for either. One thing I have to say about this whole virtual event thing is a lot of the way that I personally do SEMA is I wander around and I just look at every table with a fine-tooth comb, going over it, trying to find the interesting stuff to me. The things that are put into the new product showcase aren't always the things that I find to be the most interesting, and you have to hit the show floor to find those. With this virtual event, there's no way to do that, unfortunately. There are actually two companies in this list that have weird names that I am bad at pronouncing, so let's get right into the first one. KnKut. I don't know how the heck you're supposed to pronounce this. This company is producing drill bits, and they had a couple of new unique products that I want to present to you folks. First up is their 5-piece carbide tipped drill bit set. Now these are clearly intended for drilling into harder materials such as broken off exhaust studs, engine studs, bolts, and various suspension components or things that might be of a higher strength material. These are rated for drilling into a Rockwell hardness rating of 48 to 65, so pretty hard materials overall. There are actually two of these 5-piece sets. There's a right-handed version and a left-handed version, so if you are trying to extract a broken off stud, you could use the left-handed ones and maybe possibly work that thing out of there just with the drill bit. It's not often I ever have that happen, but it is worth a shot once in a while. The 5-piece set comes with 1/8 inch, 3/16, 1/4 inch, 5/16, and 3/8 inch bits in it. The 5-piece right-hand set goes for $137.54, and the left-hand set's a little more at $160. Drilling out hardened bolts, difficult studs, they can be a real pain, so this is interesting, it's neat to me. Now, it's not the first product like this on the market. I know when I was with Matco, we did have full carbide bits. They weren't just carbide tipped, they were entirely carbide, so that was nice to see. These carbide tips do worry me just a little bit. Once you chip it, you break it, what are you gonna do with the bit? Probably have to end up replacing it. And they're not the cheapest bits on the market. A 5-piece set for $137, so it's gonna be up to you whether or not this is worth it. If you're drilling a lot of broken off bolts, it could be. Now the same company also had a new 3-piece reamer set, they're calling it. I'm just calling it a deep step drill set. Personally, I'm not a fan of step drill bits. I rarely, if ever, use them. They just don't drill deep enough for me, and they usually leave too much of an edge that needs to be deburred, and I just don't find that to be very useful for my needs. I can go ahead and drill with stepping up drill bits or different types of cutters to drill out holes. But these could possibly change that. They have a 1/2 inch step depth to them, so you could drill through up to 1/2 inch thick materials. That makes them much more versatile to me. I most often want to use a step drill on something like plastics. If I'm putting a switch into a dashboard on a car that has a plastic piece or a plastic gauge cluster, that's the common place I could see using step drills in my needs, and they're just never quite deep enough. So this deeper design, that is really opening the doors up in my eyes. The set comes with 3 sizes of these step drills. They go from 5/16 of an inch up to 1 1/16 of an inch between all 3 sizes. They have 3 flat flutes on the backside, so you can go ahead and grip onto them with a drill chuck and not have a spin. And they're also 3/8 drives, so you don't have to use a 1/2 inch drill with them. Each bit has 5 steps on it, and there is a 90-degree tip on these things for quick drill starts. Overall, I'm really interested in this set. The 3-piece set is a little pricey though at $227, but this is definitely more versatile than any other step drill bit set that I have personally seen. Now these are, again, made in the USA. These are definitely making me think maybe I could use some step drill bits if I'm talking about a set like this. The deeper design's gonna allow me to be much more versatile in my work, and going all the way from 5/16 of an inch all the way up to inch and a 16th makes them pretty darn versatile to me, though there's only 15 steps within that range. Now the website does list a 6-month warranty for the products from this company, so I don't know for sure whether that applies to both of these products or not, because they don't list the warranty status of them in their specifications for these products specifically. For the step drill set, that's really not that great. There are plenty of lifetime warranty step drill sets out there. And now when you're comparing to the cheaper ones you might pick up off of Amazon, that isn't a bad warranty to have from a quality USA made company. The folks over at Permatex were showing off their new orange thread locker. Basically a Loctite, since that is a name brand, that is orange in color, has the strength of red supposedly, and the reusability of blue, meaning that it has the holding power once you install that fastener of the red Loctite that just does not want to let loose of your fasteners for a really good thread locking design, and the ease of removal of using the blue Loctite, which is what you would usually use on something like aluminum or components that you think will be coming off for serviceability factor. The idea that I could get the strength of red with the serviceability of blue, not having to heat it up to break down that stuff so I could actually loosen it up, not having to use an air impact gun to separate things, that is very intriguing to me, and I'm going to be highly interested in testing this stuff out and seeing for myself how true this actually is. I can't quite come up with a methodology for testing the holding power of this stuff. If you can come up with something, please let me know. Drop an email to me. I'd love to test this out and see if the theory really holds up here. Next up is the other folks with the KN name, Knipex. I hate saying it that way, but that is the official way to say it. So they had a couple of new plier sets on hand. If you're not familiar with them, they are my favorite manufacturer of pliers. I love their products quite a bit. First up is the mini baby extra small Cobra pliers. These things are only 4 inches long and they fit in the palm of your hand. They are easily adjustable with their quick adjustment design and can be spread up to 1 inch capacity. So you can still get these into tighter locations because of their compact design, but grip onto larger things. Maybe you have like an EGR valve that's got an extension tube or something. You got to get in there tight to grip onto it because it doesn't have any wrench flats on it. That's not the oddest thing I've ever seen on a car, and I could see getting into those tighter locations with this thing and still gripping with that Cobra grip plier design. If you've never used these, they really do genuinely work better than the majority of other pliers out there. Even the name brand companies that make similar water pump type pliers or copy this jaw design, in my opinion, they just never quite match up to the official Knipex ones, Knipex. The only thing I see about these 4-inch Cobra pliers, personally, the extra smalls that I don't love, is that they don't have the coated grip design on them. They're just a bare steel grip, and I don't love that. I get it, that makes sense, maybe fitting in tighter locations. You want them to be as slim and streamlined as you can get them, but I would like to have something I could a little more easily clean off and not worry about corrosion down the road. Now, I haven't had a corrosion problem with my Knipex pliers to this point, so that might be misplaced. It's just something I see in the long term about these. And I did find them averaging somewhere between $30 to $35 available online right now. Next up is the Knipex stepped cable cutters. These have a unique stepped jaw design that is intended to go ahead and collate the wires together in a way that means that they cut at different levels. So if you were doing like house wiring and you had, say, 3-strand or 4-strand home wiring and you went to cut it, it would actually cut the outer ones, then the inner ones, meaning you're not cutting everything at the same time to hopefully use the applied force in a more versatile fashion. These have a 6.25-inch handle length design, and they are rated for cutting up to 9/16 stranded cables, so battery cables up to 9/16 of an inch. They have an induction hardened jaw design. I have found personally that the cutters from Knipex just work so darn well and last for a really long time, and they also heavily warranty them. If you get a chip in the cutting edge of your pliers, that is considered a defect, and a good tool supplier will replace them for that reason. These stepped cutters are available in a standard coated design, a better comfort grip design, and an insulated up to 1,000-volt handle design. One of the first products and the first companies that I spotted on the new products page was the folks over at Beta Tools with their hand crank crank engine stand. If you've never used a hand crank engine stand, I highly recommend them. Personally, I own a hand crank engine stand and I love it. It is so much easier to just crank that gear reduction handle over to spin that engine around. When you're doing an engine assembly or repair job or disassembly, you could spin that thing a handful of times. If you've got a bad back like I do, shoulders that are a little ropey, you can hurt yourself pretty easily by manipulating all of that weight out in front of you. Yes, if its center of gravity is set up properly, it should spin pretty easily, but I just find this to be better overall. I've seen engines ruined by somebody gripping into the bore with their bare hands, spinning it over, coming back to it later and realizing their hand oils actually corroded the bores on that engine. I say somebody, I meant me. I did that. Something like the hand crank prevents that kind of thing from happening because you crank back on the engine stand to rotate this engine over. I personally really do like this design and this idea. Editing Alan here, jumping in real quick. I'm editing this video right here, right now, and I just saw that and I have a thought about it. I'm 90% certain that the only way they lock that rotation in is they tighten that bolt and it just keeps the shaft that the handle is attached to from spinning, but that's not really a lock. It's not like a pin going into a gear or anything like that. Like, I don't know, that was weird. I just saw that, so yeah. And it has a folding design, so you can fold up the legs on it and stick it into a corner when you're not using it. If you're not doing a lot of engine repairs or disassemblies or assemblies, then it could be pretty handy to fold this away into a corner. Now let's come to the price of this thing. This thing is $1,600 US. Whew. Personally, I have a Sunx Tools one, and now this Beta Tools one does look superior in one way. The folding legs fold up to the actual unit itself. Mine, the back of it folds down so you can stick this thing under something, and it doesn't fold up that nicely. Honestly, I never fold mine up, so it does take up a little more room in the shop than I would like. But that said, a Sunx one is available from anywhere between $250 to $400. So you could buy upwards of 4, if not more, of these for the price of the Beta Tools one. Now, I haven't been able to see this in hand, and that's where going to a show like this is better, where I could get my hands on it and say if it's worth the additional price, but it's gonna be a hard sell to me to be 4 times the price. It has to be an excellent product, and I don't have enough problems with the Sunx one to say that anything could make it 4 times the tool, in my opinion. Last, but most certainly not least, is the thing that I hinted at before, the Innovator of the Year for SEMA 2020, SEMA 360, the virtual year. That is the DymePsi Rattlesnake tool. I've been wanting to talk about this set for quite some time, and it kind of fell off my radar. I spoke to these folks quite a while ago before they ever released the product, when they were actually just moving to the USA to start producing it. They were originally based in Australia, I believe. Now, you folks know I've made a lot of videos about AN plumbing to this point, and I've got more coming for you. I pride myself on high quality plumbing for my projects, and that is what this kit is all about. The idea of this product is you can Lego snap together assembly of a hose with different ends on it to mock it up in your situation. And yes, mock it up, not cut and make the hose right there in front of you, but actually mock up the idea of what hose you're going to use. You can write out that information, mark down the length of it, the angle of orientation of the different ends on it, and you can get yourself a pressure tested, high quality crimped hose produced to those specifications for your project. Now, previously, if you wanted to do that, you had to get your own crimping station, which is $3,000 for the base station. Then the jaws are like $250 a piece. So to get the full setup, you're talking $5,000, $6,000. And then you would have to make all the stuff, have all the products, the hose ends and everything in stock for yourself. And then if you wanted to pressure test it, you have to have a full high pressure testing situation. And even most high quality speed shops don't have that stuff on hand. For something like a speed shop that might want to offer that as a service, it kind of makes sense. But even for me as a professional car builder, the number of hoses that I produce in a year, it's hard to justify all of that expense and equipment just to produce high quality hoses. This service allows you to take that tool to get the proper exact measurements that you need, so you're not ordering specific lengths and hoping they're going to fit your situation, or ending up with a hose that's too long and you got to use the extra length and it just looks silly. You can get exactly what you need from this kit. The individual pieces are made of injection molded nylon, and they are available separately from the kit, so if you lose some or you need to expand your kit for some larger length sizes, you could get them from them. This could really take some builds to the next level. Now, the kits are not cheap by any means. They are like $400, $450 per size, or you can get all the current available sizes for around $2,000. Now for, again, a hot rod shop, professional shop, a small speed shop, that is not that bad, especially when you're talking about that crimper setup being $3,000 for the tool alone with no crimping dies. You're already saving $1,000 off of that. And then you don't have to worry about stocking all the fittings and all of that. You just deal with DymePsi to get these high quality hoses in, pressure tested, ready to run. And like I said, they won Innovator of the Year, and I do think that was probably a deserved award. Again, I wasn't able to go to the event and see everything that was there, but this is personally, I think, the most intriguing and interesting product that I saw on display for SEMA 2020. And that is it for the new tools from SEMA 2020. A lot of the companies that I would usually deal with when it comes to going to these types of shows really didn't do anything big or even display there at all this year. Some companies are doing their own things separate of the SEMA event, such as Gear Wrench has something coming in the very near future. Look out for that. I'm going to start dropping some hints about that very soon because I will be involved with what it is they're doing. All right, folks, I hope you found this video interesting. If you did, please go ahead and drop it a like. It really helps out. Let me know in the comments down below. Did you find this interesting? Was there anything in there that you really want to check out, or are you disappointed in what was offered this year for SEMA 360? Go ahead and get subscribed to keep up to date with all the content. I do have more SEMA stuff coming for you, and thanks for coming around, folks.